A moment of transparency. Let's be natural with it. This hair, let me tell you, okay, it needs to be shaped up. It does. Anyway, a moment of transparency, sitting out here in nature. One of the best places to be. Connected with everything around you, but definitely connected with yourself. What I've realized all this time is that I have been doing a hell of a lot of shadow work. Started a few years ago, still happening till this day. Just digging really, really deep into yourself, dealing with your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. I feel like that's how you evolve into a stronger version of yourself. It definitely is not easy because we let a lot of things get to us. Our own thoughts. Definitely our own thoughts. But at the end of the day, at some point, we got to sit down and we have to deal with them. But life, we stay so busy, just busy throughout the day. At night, we just want to lay down, relax, watch TV, and just still avoid ourselves. And the past few years, that's something that I really have not been able to do. I feel like I, quote unquote, lost my place a couple of years ago because the universe, God, wanted me to face myself. And after facing myself for so long, I didn't realize how much of myself I was neglecting. It was hard because we don't like to sit down. We may like to lay down on the bed, on the couch, and relax, but most of the time we're distracted by something. So there were times I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have a TV to watch. I didn't have a phone. Any of that. I just basically had to deal with myself. And then there's times where I have a phone when I didn't want to be on the phone because it had got just that deep. I realized that the phone was also a distraction. People were a distraction. The world is a distraction. I questioned why I had to give up so many things. And I realized everything was a distraction. I wasn't dealing with myself. And I know most people will be like, well, what do you mean dealing with yourself? What type of person are you? Ask yourself, what type of person are you? Think about your beliefs, your thoughts, your patterns, your, unhealthy habits. Think about all of it. That's what the universe wants you to sit down and focus on. But we don't. How do we expect things to get better in our lives if we don't? So there was a lot of things that I needed to face. How can you manifest love when you don't love yourself? You don't even love yourself enough to spend time with yourself. You always want to be distracted with something, by something. And that was definitely a wake-up call. And it still is, but I've recognized and I've realized that I know when I need to spend some time by myself. And I spent a lot of time by myself at one point when I was Instacarting. Even though, I was at the grocery stores and things like that, I was still in the car and delivering groceries and those things. I spent a lot of time by myself. But I realized that became a distraction because that's all that I wanted to do. See, I feel like when the universe asked me, when God asked me to let go, I was supposed to let go of everything and not get attached. So anything that the universe, most will say God, universe, God put into our paths, we're not to get distracted by that. And that there is hard. It's hard because we want to focus on that outside of ourselves more than we focus. And so you have to learn. You have to learn how to balance. And more of it should be more on yourself than what is going on around you. Because that's the only way that you're going to get to know you, and that's the only way you're going to get to heal you. I've learned so much about myself that when I'm talking to people, some people can't stand when I tell them this is what I think and this is what I believe. I understand what you're saying, but this is me. This is how I see things. And people get upset when you don't see things their way. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to. I've gotten to know me. I'm getting to know me. You know, I accept my thoughts. I accept my feelings. I accept my emotions. They're me. They're within me. And so people don't understand that you can possibly feel different than how they feel. We supposed to, I guess we're supposed to all feel the same. We're supposed to all think the same, and no, that's not how I'm me. You're you, okay? So once you get to know yourself and that spending time with yourself, you start to get to know yourself. You start to look at the world around you and realize, I am different. In a lot of ways, I am different. And I accept that difference. And then when you start accepting you start to see people trickle off. Because at that point, they realize they can't manipulate you into being who they want you to be and how they want you to be and think like how when you start challenging somebody's thoughts, somebody's thinking process, then they get in their feelings. See, people will ask me questions. And me, I'm one of those people, if I got an answer, I got an answer. If I don't know, I don't know. I'm not going to force you to believe and see. I've learned my lesson with that, because when I started getting off into spirituality, I realized that I started to see, Christ different and God different. And I'm like, how can people not see that? But then I realized people don't read what I read. People don't study what I study. People may not be into what I'm into. And that's cool, But I feel like when more people get in spiritually tuned with themselves, not what the Bible's telling us, not what other people are telling us, but really sit down and spend time with themselves and interpret, even if you want to read the Bible. Interpret it in your own way. Get your own understanding of it. Not letting somebody feed your flesh, it's feed your spirit what they want you to know. It's programming. It's programming. So if you choose that you want to read the Bible, read the Bible. But make sure you get your own understanding. I have a friend near and dear to my heart. Him and I, we have spent some time in the Bible. We have not read the whole Bible. But what we do is we'll take certain scriptures and we'll read it and we'll interpret it in our way. His way may be different than I interpret it, but it's still somewhat aligned. And so it's like when you use your own mind, you'll see it yourself instead of arguing with people, telling people that you don't know that. You don't know what the universe has put on my heart and how they want me to understand it. It may be different for you. It may not be the same for me. And like I said, this comes with a level of maturity. I feel like as you mature mentally, you started to get out of that mindset of, I think I know everything and everything that I was programmed and trained to believe is correct. It's not, baby. We got to wake up to reality. This goes all the way back to childhood, from the things that they teach you at school. As an adult, you should question what you have been taught, because by the time you get grown, you see the world totally different. So, if the world is this way, then how do I know what they told me when I was younger is even real? Because my eyes are starting to open to something totally different. And then you start, if you choose to, you start to research and do your own research. Start to look into it yourself. And this, like I said, this comes with a level of maturity. Because for some reason or another, we feel like we know everything. We will never know everything about life. Some of us are still believing that we came from Adam and Eve, from the man and the woman in the Bible. And then some of us believe that Adam is Adam. When it comes to science. when it comes to the cells, when it comes to energy. Some people believe that Eve means electron, not Eve, not an actual woman. Because when you connect science and spirituality, it goes hand to hand. Regardless if we want to believe it or not, it goes hand to hand. When you think about science, when you think about biology, when you think about chemistry, when you think about physics, and then you compare it to what they wrote, some of the things that they wrote in the Bible. 2 + 2, you can say it's either 4 or 5. At some point, we have to want to step out of our comfort zone. And that's one of the things that's hard, but it helps you heal. Because you'll start to realize, dang, a lot of the things that I was trained to believe is really toxic. And then a lot of the things that you've been trained to believe, that's probably how you were programmed, and things are supposed to go that way for you. But you can't expect that everybody else is supposed to live like that too. You can't. I think the saying is, God gives us free will. So when we take that free will and we start to accept ourselves and be ourselves, people don't like that. Why is that? You said God gave me free will. I accept you for you. Why can't you accept me for me? Because I don't believe like you believe, because I don't live like you live. And that's one of the things that I've learned when it comes to God. I said this to myself today. I said, if God was real, God would want us to support and help each other, not tear each other down. Because one of the sayings is, only God can judge, but yet we do it. So how can you overtake his position? If you believe in God, you can't overtake his position. So who are you to judge? You got to leave that for Judgment Day, right? So we have to think about it, but instead we judge, which to me takes you out of your godly energy. Because at the end of the day, God knows we're not perfect. So who are we to judge? But we do it anyway. So spending time by yourself, walking with yourself, awakening to yourself, your ways, I think a lot of us avoid. But it's one of the best things we could do for ourselves to free our mind. And even though it's not easy digging and accepting and doing that shadow work, it must be done. It must be done. And people call shadow work demonic. It's really not. It's really you digging deep within yourself, dealing with parts of, say for instance, you think a certain way. You ask your shadow self, why do I think this way? Where did this come from? Did this truly come from the divine, or did this come from man? Did man tell me? And man could be your family, because human, okay? Man could be mankind, your family, your friends, society. And was I programmed to believe this? Or is this something that I truly believe within my heart? Because I've actually studied it, meditated on it, prayed on it, and this is how it's supposed to be. Nothing is set in stone. Anything can change at any time. And I feel like if you've been here for a while, you're aware of that. But yet, we resist change. And when we resist change, we cause our inner selves, our inner soul, our inner partner, as I say, to suffer, because your inner self wants to grow. So then people wonder, why do I keep attracting the same type of people? You keep attracting the same type of people because your inner self is not willing to. You're not allowing your inner self to evolve to attract different type of people. Your mindset is what's going to help you attract people. But if you're in that one-track mindset, guess what you're going to do? You're going to attract those same type of people because your mind is the same. So at some point, your mind has to evolve in order for you to attract better in your life. And I'm not saying what you have is worse, but I feel like if you want to heal, you want real love, genuine love, people that love you for you. And I'm about to get this way because this is hot out here sitting in this sun, like. But if you genuinely want people in your life for you, that love you and accept the real you, once you get to know you, I'm telling you this now, when you truly get to know you, and you step outside of what society deems as fact, baby, be ready. because people are going to not care for you. People are going to switch up on you. People are going to talk about you regardless if you believe what they believe and believe the same thing or believe your own thing, regardless. But your life will totally change when you awaken to yourself. When you find your own way of thinking, when you find your own way of being, when you find your own way of believing, people are going to switch. Your circle, your entire circle is going to change. And it's going to be a selected few that's going to accept you for you. But that's going to let you know who's genuine and who's not. Because as long as I act like you want me to act, then you're fine. But if I don't act like you want me to act, then there's a problem. You don't want to be around me, or you don't want to talk to me, or you don't want to be with me. I've had that in a relationship. A couple of years ago, because I didn't act like he wanted me to act. I attracted you naturally being me. Now all of a sudden, months in, you want me to be something else. I can't do that for you. I'm sorry, I can't. I got to naturally be me. So then when that broke off, I knew it wasn't for me. I let it go. That's how simple it is. Because what's for you gonna be for you. And it's not gonna be any resistance. It's gonna flow. And that's what I'm learning about relationships. That's what I'm learning about jobs. That's what I'm learning about, anything outside of myself. Anything that's for me is going to come to me with little to no resistance. But when there's a lot of resistance, that there should let you know that that's not for you. So as I said, shadow work is deeper than what most think. It's nothing demonic about working on yourself. It's nothing wrong with pulling out those thoughts from your subconscious mind and bringing them to reality. Why do I think the way I do? Why do I act the way I do? Those are the questions that you are asking your shadow self that you bury. Because for some reason we act like we perfect and we not. All of us, every human on this planet is flawed. And that's the reason why it's the way that it is now, toxic. Because we don't want to deal with ourselves. We just want to pray about it and forget about it. That ain't how that works. Because ain't nobody healing if you're not putting no action behind that prayer. You got to work on yourself. Not pray that the other person change. It's within you to change. Because if that other person is for you or isn't for you, you change, you gonna move on. It's just that simple. So again, we gotta want to spend time with ourselves. It's a beautiful thing. It's hard sometimes because you got to deal with them deep, dark thoughts, okay? And you got to deal with the feelings and the thoughts that come with it. But what I'm telling you is, as you learn to deal with it and you learn to process it, the easier it will become. It ain't gonna be easy at first. So if you want to get off into shadow work, I'll let you go. I wrote about it in my book. I've actually did writing prompts in my book about shadow work. Yes, baby, I am still going through it. And I think we're going to do shadow work until the day that we leave this planet. And then when our souls reincarnate, it's a cycle. And each time, I feel like each time that our soul reincarnates, it evolves higher and higher and higher to another realm. And see, the thing about it is they don't teach us spirituality that way. But that's how we heal this world. That's how we heal this planet. It's by awakening to ourselves and healing ourselves. So when we let this soul go, and when we drop this flesh and our souls go on, once it reincarnates into the next being or whatever it reincarnates to that is alive, guess what? It has evolved. And that's a beautiful thing. Anyway, just wanted to jump on here, chit-chat a bit, shed some light. Hope you all are having a wonderful day. It's beautiful outside. Get outside and connect with nature. Get into your own energy and love on you, boo. I love you.